the Irish guy, and it is 2024. Don't you all just feel cripplingly old? Probably not. A good chunk of you are probably 13. But lads, it is that time of year again, so I'm going to give one bold, outlandish prediction. Something that's going to happen to every Premier League club in 2024. I mean, hopefully this goes better than last year's edition when I said that Unai Emery would get sacked. Right, let's go. Arsenal will reach Champions League final. Yes. A lot of you will think that I'm crazy for saying this. Arsenal have only reached the Champions League final once in their history in 2006. And here I am to be Mikel Arteta to be that man. This makes about as much sense as if I were to suggest that Batman would announce that he's pregnant with twins. Well, why not? The Champions League looks very open to me this season. I mean, did anyone see the likes of Inter Milan, Chelsea, Tottenham making the finals of recent seasons? I mean, when Gareth Bale spanked in that bicycle kick against Liverpool in 2018, that was the season where the Reds had finished 4th in the league. I mean, if someone had reached them to reach the Champions League final of that season, in the Christmas of 2017, people would have looked at them as if they had just confessed to sneaking into Disneyland at night to kidnap all the blokes dressed up as Goofy. I don't think the Gunners will be European champions this season, no, but they will get past Porto in the last 16, and all they have to do is just beat 2 more football teams, and guess what? They're in the final. Just you watch. Arsenal are going to Wembley. Aston Villa will win European trophy. Okay, this doesn't even seem outlandish. Aston Villa are in a European competition that West Ham won last year. If David Moyes, someone whose personal silverware collection could have been contained to a single Rice Krispies box, if he was able to win this, then surely a European addict like Unai Emery will have no trouble at all. This really isn't an outlandish claim, but yeah. The 29th of May 2024 in Athens, Aston Villa will finally be winning another European trophy. Over 40 years after the last one, Bournemouth will be in top 4 at Christmas. What are you looking at me like that for? People think I'm nuts. I get it. Suggesting that Bournemouth will be in the Champions League spot at Christmas. Am I alright? Are we positive that I didn't eat some poisoned bananas? Tipping little Bournemouth to crack the top 4. The next time Michael Bublé is in the charts? It's weird, right? I know it's weird. Seeing them in the Champions League spots would be a bit like seeing that strange geeky kid from school at Britney Spears' birthday party. Well, hang on. It really wouldn't be the weirdest thing in the world. I remember at the end of December 2005, yes, back in the Stone Age. I mean, for those of you who weren't alive in 2005, you're lucky. You won't have a clue who Daniel Powter was. But yes, back then, I remember seeing tiny little newly promoted Wigan ending 2005 being kept out of the top 4 on goal difference. And they had just gone on a 5-game losing streak. I mean, imagine that Wigan squad in the Champions League. Jimmy Bullard competing at the new camp. Would have been a bit like watching some homeless bloke being invited for afternoon tea with the Queen. He'd probably just wipe his feet on her dress. Well, lads, I am telling you, Andoni Iraola is producing something special at Bournemouth. This is going to be the year of the cherries, and I promise you, Christmas of this year, it seems a million miles away, and most of you are probably sick to the teeth of Mariah Carey waiting at you like a constipated owl whilst you're trying to buy a toaster for your mum. But I'm telling you, Bournemouth in the top 4 this December. They are going to be immense. Brentford will sack Thomas Frank. Yet this seems really silly to suggest that Brentford will sack Thomas Frank, considering he has recently been linked with monster jobs like Tottenham in the spring. The narrative is that the Bees are lucky to have this Danish coach, and that they should be like a territorial growling dog whenever another club sniffs around him. But I remember that same narrative applying to Leicester City and Brendan Rodgers. A couple of years ago, when he was regularly getting the Foxes into Europe, he was being linked with every top job in England, like Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea. He was the bookies' favourite to replace Pep Guardiola at Man City. The very thought that Leicester would ever be in a position to fire him, unthinkable. But things change, and Brentford are in a hole. They just lost 5 games in a row, and let's be honest, they had a trip to Man City postponed, so that would have been 6 Premier League defeats in a row. They've taken 3 points from the last available 21. If Frank does not turn this around, I don't care how much credit he has in the bank, the bloke is getting binned. He's already been Brentford boss for over 5 years. This is usually a stage where chairmen start to think,
oh, he's done a great job, but he's been here too long. His ideas are getting stale. We need to freshen things up.
I mean, to be fair, it took Arsenal about 10 years too late to work that out with Arsene Wenger. But yeah, like Rodgers at Leicester, I think Frank will be getting a shock sack and replaced with Julian Lopetegui. Brighton will sign a future Ballon d'Or winner. Yeah. This is the one prediction in this list that we will not know if I'm right by the end of the year. For all we know, Brighton could have already signed a future Ballon d'Or winner already. On paper, this does sound like a stupidly wild call. Little Brighton and Hove Albion spotting the future best player in the world before he becomes famous. I see no reason why Brighton can't scout a future world great. I mean, they're getting dangerously close. They already brought Ansu Fati through the door on loan, so they might have already done this, but yeah, go on. keep an eye on their recruits in 2024. One of them is winning this thing. Burnley will sack Vincent Kompany. I don't like saying this because I've actually been quietly pleased about how Burnley have managed to stick with Vincent Kompany despite the crazy amount of defeats. Most owners of a struggling Premier League club would have binned off their rookie boss by now, but I like that they showed patience. Here's the kicker though. The bloke is clearly skating on thin ice. He's in such a perilous position. It's a bit like he's having a family picnic in the middle of a frozen lake and has now just noticed the sun popping out of the clouds. Yeah, he knows that within 20 minutes, he's probably going to be buttering his sandwich underwater. Burnley are going to be in the championship next season. And here's the thing. Kompany only still has his job because of the stupidly high bar he raised for himself in the championship last season. Burnley are only holding on to him because of that magical 101 point season. Although weirdly, people forget, he really struggled at the start. Don't forget, he drew 7 of his opening 12 games. He had 7 annoying 1-1 draws by Halloween. If he has that start again next season, he's going to be sacked. For someone like Carlos Corberán, Chelsea will go 20 games without a clean sheet. Lads, this seems mental. I grew up in an era where Chelsea began a Premier League season by only conceding just 10 goals by April. 10! Under Jose Mourinho. In early 2005, they went 10 league games in a row without conceding a goal, winning a Premier League title by only conceding 15 goals all season long. That is ridiculous. Fast forward to modern times, and I'm actually tipping Chelsea to go 20 league games in a row without a single clean sheet. Even me saying that, it feels weird. But, lads, why not? Chelsea have only kept 1 clean sheet over the last 13 league games. And before that, I mean, they beat Luton 3-0 in August. That was their first clean sheet in 12 games. Chelsea can no longer adequately defend, which is weird considering they've got a squad stuffed with random £60 million centre backs. Mauricio Pochettino is going to embark on a 20-game run of 0 clean sheets. And it's gonna look ugly. Crystal Palace will have a shock inclusion at Euro 2024. Lads, this mightn't seem completely crazy to say, but I think Crystal Palace will have a shock last-minute call-up for Euro 2024. I think ex-Chelsea centre-back Mark Gay is probably the favourite to go to that tournament in the entire Palace squad, but I'm expecting either Dean Henderson or Michael Olise to be last-minute inclusions. Olise is yet to be given a single cap by France, and I'm confused why Gareth Southgate is not convincing him to join. I mean, you messed up with Wilfried Zaha. You can still get Olise. Whilst Henderson has not been called up by Southgate in donkey's years. But Henderson has just dislodged Sam Johnstone, who is an England regular, and with the likes of Aaron Ramsdale and Nick Pope disintegrating into dust, I can see Henderson having an undeniable 6 months in goal. Just squeeze his way onto the plane. And if not him, then Olise will have an absolutely monstrous 6 months in a Palace shirt, forcing Didier Deschamps to make him his wildcard last-minute Theo Walcott-esque pick. Just you watch. One of Henderson or Olise is going to Euro 2024. Everton will hire a Champions League winning manager. This seems really strange to say, considering Sean Dyche is doing a quality job as Everton boss, despite them only being 1 point above the relegation zone. That is true. But Everton, under new ambitious ownership, and with the club excited to move into the spaceship of a stadium next year, and I just think by mid-November, Everton will have grown bored of moldy old Dyche, and will go back to hiring Champions League winning managers, like they did with Rafa Benitez and Carlo Ancelotti. It's going to be a massive monster name to excite the fans. Someone who has lifted the Champions League as manager. Let's say Luis Enrique, once he inevitably gets the PSG sack. There you go. Enrique. That is Everton's next Champions League winning boss. Are you unexcited now? Oh wow, imagine if it's Mourinho instead, reuniting him with Dele Alli. Fulham will win a game 7-0. Surely Fulham's eventual ambition is to start seeing their deliciously wonderful goal-fest football from Marco Silva's championship title-winning season integrated in the Premier League. I spoke about Burnley getting 101 points after chewing on a bunch of 1-1 draws at the start of the season. No. Silva's men scored 4 or more goals in 11 matches that season. It's weird. Fulham just had 2 identical 5-0 home wins in the space of 4 days, right? Back in January 2022, they had 2 identical 6-2 home wins in the space of 3 days. This is really strange. Silva seems to love immediately repeating a scoreline. You'd swear he was the litter of darts. Although, by the way, how is he 16? I went to school with someone who had a mum who looked like that. Lads, Fulham had 3 7-0 wins that season. 2 of them were away from home. I don't care that they only wound up with 90 points. That Fulham team is arguably the scariest, most devastating one in championship history. And so yeah, we've seen them getting the hang of obliterating Premier League teams now. So why not? I'm going to go with a 7-0 win in 2024. Their biggest Premier League win. Once they get a clinical striker through the door, just you watch. Luton Town, Rob Edwards will take England job. This sounds absolutely insane. Me tipping the England FA to be hiring the bloke from Luton Town, but why not? The last time there was a vacancy, it was a race between the managers from Sunderland and Hull. They once hired Kevin Keegan after a season in the Championship with Fulham. I don't see what would be so nutty about getting Rob Edwards. And lads, England do not like appointing managers who've just failed. They always want managers who are fresh off a high. I mean, back in 2016, Bruce had just got Hull promoted, while Allardyce had pulled off the great escape at Sunderland. If Edwards pulls off a miracle and keeps tiny little Luton up, chucking the fact that he's worked with the FA before, managing England under 16s 3 years ago, then I'm telling you, if Luton stay up, he's taking Southgate's job. Liverpool will not lose a Premier League game. This is really crazy to say. Why not? Go back to 2019, and Liverpool lost to Man City on the 3rd of January, and didn't lose a single Premier League match for the rest of the year. I'm not saying I think Liverpool will win the league this season. I don't. I think their record is going to be peppered with a bunch of unhelpful draws, but I just think Jurgen Klopp has established a steely mentality where if you give them a lead, they don't lose. I don't think they'll lose a game for the rest of the season. And there is a cruel irony to that, because it would mean that the only team who defeated them, the only team who have preserved Arsenal's proud record of being the only Invincibles, is Spurs. 0 Premier League defeats for Liverpool in 2024. I might be wrong. I probably am. I just have to say it because imagine if someone had predicted that at the start of 2019. They would have looked like a mad genius. So just in case, let's say the same for 2024. Man City will lose to a newly promoted team. Man City rarely lose to newly promoted teams anymore. I think the last time that happened was Norwich 4.5 years ago. Oh wow, that crazy 3-2 game. That was nearly 5 years ago. Where's the time gone? That is nuts. So yeah, I think it'll happen again. They'll lose to a newly promoted team. Let's say Leicester in December. Why not? Against their former protege, Enzo Maresca. Hey lads, he even looks like Pep. Man United will concede 8 goals in one game. Oh, no. No. This is the most outlandish and stupid prediction in the entire list. The great Manchester United conceding 8 goals in one match. Is this a joke? No, it's football heritage. Lads, in 2021, Man United conceded 5 goals in one match. In 2022, Man United conceded 6 goals in one match. In 2023, Man United conceded 7 goals in one match. Do you see where I'm going with this? When I saw Man United lose 6-1 at home to Man City in 2011, I thought that was a once-in-a-lifetime event. An absolute freak result. We would never see that disgrace infect the club again. Nah, I've since seen Tottenham and Man City stick 6 past them again. I've seen Liverpool do that and then score 1 more to make it a stupid 7. Man United embarrassed themselves. I never ever thought we would see them lose a Premier League match by 7 goals. So why not 8? This Manchester United team are weak. They implode. They were 4-0 down at halftime to Brentford. Don't think we've all forgotten about that. It might seem crazy to say this, but I'm gonna say it. 2nd of March 2024, that'll be the day. Manchester City 8, Manchester United 0. Then are you going to sack Ten Hag? Newcastle will have a star player poach. This was not supposed to be the way. When Man City got their super takeover, they didn't have to sell their star players. It didn't happen. But with Newcastle apparently so restricted by FFP these days, to the point where Eddie Howe had to sell Sam Maximin to fund Harvey Barnes. By the way, I still haven't forgiven him for that. Then yeah, I think with the way things are going, Newcastle are going to have to sell one of their best players. This wasn't supposed to happen at St. James's Park anymore. Mike Ashley was supposed to be long gone, just sitting in an all-you-can-eat buffet with chunks of chorizo all over his chin. But I'm going to say this, Newcastle are going to cash in on an asset this year. I'm going to call it Bruno Guimaraes for £100 million, which is his release clause. I know he loves it on Tyneside, but he has had a taste of Champions League football. He turns 27 years old this year. You reckon he'll be happy competing in the Europa Conference League at that age? No. I can see him getting a move to Man City. You know, after that transfer for his old buddy Luke's Paqueta collapse. Honestly, with Lewis Miley coming through, I can see either Bruno or Joe Linton being sold for mega money. Nottingham Forest will reach FA Cup final. Lads, Nuno Espirito Santo is a quality cup manager. That bloke was just minutes away from getting Wolves to an FA Cup final in 2019 before they somehow choked against Watford. To be fair, they would have put up much more of a fight against Man City than Watford did, who embarrassingly lost 6-0. So yeah, Forest at Wembley in May 2024. Sheffield United, bottom of championship at Christmas. Yeah, this is just your classic case of a demoralized squad in freefall. After a year long getting battered in the Premier League, the Blades will just continue to get slaughtered in the championship. I reckon Chris Wilder will be gone after a pretty uneventful relegation scrap. And yeah, with someone left field like Frank Lampard at the wheel, bottom of the league by Christmas. Tottenham, Richarlison will end the year on 20 goals. Yeah, why not? I think Richarlison has turned a corner at Spurs. One of the most improved players in the league. And Postecoglou is really getting a tune out of him, so at the risk of sounding crazy, I'm going to say it. 20 Premier League goals in 2024. West Ham will break transfer record. West Ham are due an absolute summer splurge. Their record transfer is still Sebastian Haller for £40 million 5 years ago. I'm going to call it 2024 is the year where West Ham finally, for the first time ever, write a £50 million paycheck. Just you watch. Wolves will sack Gary O'Neill. Right now, everybody has Gary O'Neill fever, so nobody will believe me when I say this, but I promise you, O'Neill is still getting binned in 2024. Wolves will go on a horrible run of form, and he is getting disposed of. I promise you. Let's make a deal, okay? If O'Neill still does a job at Molyneux, by the next time I tuck into my Christmas dinner, then I will dress up in a teddy bear onesie and jump in the freezing cold sea. Anyway, that's the video. Let me know what do you think. Let me know what is your outlandish prediction for your club in 2024. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.